Hello, it's Jim Manning again. I'm the author of Patriotism, Unhinged, selling very well, and I want to thank all the people that are buying it because that's what's keeping me on YouTube. I wanted to let you know I read all the comments, and I sometimes are taken aback and realize that I haven't thought of everything. And recently, it came to my knowledge that I guess it was my mistake to think that everybody knew most of what the researchers knew. But now I see that that's not it. And so what I want to do now is I want to start with giving you some of the clues that put me on the right track. Now, I'm not going to go deep on them because I've always thought that you really don't need a 500-page book to make 2 or 3 points. And so if you want to go deeper, then we'll try to mention where it came from and you can go look at it there. But the average college student or young person who just decided that they're going to be interested in this, they're going to need a capsulated kind of a form that will tell them, starting in the beginning and moving on through how I saw it. And we're going to do that with our videos. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about pictures. Now, pictures are always a little bit suspect. And the reason is that let's just take pictures involved with the Kennedy assassination. There are many experts who say that the picture of Lee Harvey Oswald holding up a rifle in a communist newspaper are not accurate. It's believed that his head was taken from another photograph and put on the body of somebody else who was standing there for that purpose. I really don't have an opinion one way or the other on that particular fact, but I do realize that it's suspect. However, with the advancement of photography, the experts now can see those kinds of things like the difference in the photographs at the autopsy. Lieutenant Commander Pitzer had taken a lot of shots, and he brought in somebody else to take a look at them with him. He had a series of photographs that were taken, and then later they took another series of photographs that didn't look anything like the first set. And so that really told me that he had been doctored up to fit the plan that they had. And nobody could see that he was shot from the front. Now, one of the big pictures that I've always thought was a good picture was the picture of the badge man. I gave the incorrect assumption that it was Leroy Blevins. In the video that I said that, the other picture was from Leroy Blevins. But Mac was the gentleman who, along with a friend of his, was able to develop that to the point where we got the final best picture of the badge man. Now, one of the things that the badge man picture shows is the man shooting that gun didn't have a hat on, and he had a lot of hair you can see sweeping down over his forehead. Now that would, to my way of thinking, that would take Roscoe White out because he was bald. And so you wouldn't have seen that hair. But that's just me as an amateur taking a look at it. That's a picture that a lot of experts have looked at and very few have argued it. We want Mac to get credit for that. Recently, I showed a picture of Jim Scott, who is the sort of master guy on James Fowles. Jim Scott was shooting a Remington XP 100, which is the gun that Jim Fowles used for the coup de grace shot. What you see in that picture is a big flash of light. And that occurred because of the way that the ammunition was built with the mercury in it. Mr. Fowles explained that in some of the shootings of that rifle, that they could explode in your face if it wasn't loaded correctly. That showed me, and was probably my determining fact. Once I saw that, I knew that Lee Bowers, what he told us was that twice in a interview by Mark Lane, he mentions a big flash of some kind, a big flash.
Mr. Bowers, what is your present occupation?
I'm Vice President of Lockwood Meadows Incorporated, which is a real estate land development company.
And where were you employed on November 22nd, 1963?
At that time, I was employed as a tower operator for the Union Terminal Company.
And where were you at about 12:30 that day?
I was at the south end of the terminal of the tower building, rather looking down toward the terminal and observing the motorcade as was everyone else in the area.
Could you tell us what you heard and what you saw from about 12 noon until the time that the shots were fired?
Well, for some time that morning, since perhaps 10 o'clock in the morning, we had the area pretty well sealed off, and the policemen had been stationed on the triple underpass as well as other strategic corners in the area, so that there was very little traffic moving into this area at this time. This is a dead-end area which is used primarily for parking. After 11 or 11:30, there was practically no movement in the area whatsoever. However, about 12:10, give or take 5 minutes, there was a car which entered the area and probed around for some time. This car was a 59 Oldsmobile station wagon with a out-of-state license. It was muddy, as if it had just come in off of the road from some area where it was a red sandy area. It was occupied by one male who spent 3 or 4 minutes in the area looking it over, and then as he found out, left by the entrance, which is the only way in and out of the area at that time. Not too long after that, perhaps 5 or 6 minutes, a car of a totally different description, also occupied by one male, entered the area. Now, this man performed a similar action, and he toured down around the area, probing to examine the exits, and seemed at one or more occasions to have a mic or something resembling such an instrument up to his face. Just a few moments after that, the third car came into the area, and these were the only 3 cars that entered this area during this specific period. The third car was a 61 or 2 Chevrolet. This car was muddy all the way up to the windows, as if it had just come in off the road. It had an out-of-state license identical to the first car of the series. And it also had political stickers on it, which were not only for the same candidate, but were identical in nature and color, so that they appeared to have been from the same group. This car was occupied by one male who spent a little bit more time in the area than the others, and probed down by the side of the tower where I was located. I could not state that these cars left the area entirely. because after they got back onto the extension of Elm Street in front of the school depository building, they were lost to my vision, so that they could have remained very close by. Immediately after the shots were fired, there, of course, was mass confusion, to put it mildly. But the area was immediately sealed off by, I would say, at least 50 police within 3 to 5 minutes. The first one to appear on the scene, other than those, of course, who were standing around, including 2 on top of the triple underpass, was one who rode a motorcycle up the incline coming up from the lower portion of Elm Street. And he rode perhaps 2/3 of the way up or more before he deserted his motorcycle. At the time of the shooting, in the vicinity of where the 2 men I've described were, there was a flash of light, or there was something which occurred which caught my eye in this immediate area on the embankment. And what this was, I could not state at that time, and at this time I could not identify it, other than there was some unusual occurrence, a flash of light or smoke or something, which caused me to feel like something out of the ordinary had occurred there.
That was obviously the flash. And once you could see that picture of that, it would be hard to not make that connection with Lee Bowers. Now, to add to it, for more proof, Lee Bowers never did say anything that the Warren Commission wanted to hear. And one of the things that would add to my conclusion was that he was killed in a automobile accident about 2.5 years after the assassination. It was an accident of dubious origin. That's how pictures, are worth 1,000 words. And I'm going to do some more YouTube videos on things that, for me, were very important. Like I say all the time, I didn't make the picture. I'm just telling you what I think the conclusion is that I drew. You draw your own conclusions, but I think that the more people who see all the things that I saw and came to this conclusion, by the time it's over with, there won't be any question about whether or not my story is probably the correct story. That's pretty hard to do whenever you're arguing against the United States government and the couple of hundred people at the CIA that are working on keeping this thing hidden. On the picture, the Mormon picture, that's what we're talking about here, Mary Mormon's picture, the most famous picture of the 20th century. The view of the picture is 1/4 of an inch by 1/4 of an inch square off of the 6 by 4 inch picture. That really shows you the depth of advancement in photography. That gives us the opportunity to have something concrete if we want to believe the picture is real. In addition to what I've already told you, other clues that would lead us to believe that James Files was the shooter was that he never said that anybody else wasn't shooting. He just wasn't paying attention to anybody. He was very focused on making the shot. He only had a split second to make that decision. And he was told not to shoot. Don't shoot if we don't want you to shoot. Only if he hasn't been hit in the head by the time he gets down there. And he could see, he was counting the shots, and he could see that he hadn't been hit, and that's in another second, he would be too close to he would be too close to Jackie, and he couldn't do that at all. And also, in 2023, James Fowles was in Dallas, and he was down at Dealey Plaza. Shortly after the little ceremony that was held on Dealey Plaza, a group started to congregate over by the fence. Beverly Oliver was there, and she hugged Jim Fowles and said, "Oh, I know who you are. You were the guy behind the fence." That would be, again, another indication that he was the shooter. So pictures can be very important. The picture that was found by Leroy Blevins and worked on, that showed it showed Mr. Zapruder and Mrs. Stitzman standing on a pillar of some kind, and off to the left of them, down on the knee, was a shooter, a left-handed shooter, and next to the left-handed shooter was somebody with a rifle in a hole in the pergola. Now, they were lined up correctly to shoot to the side of Kennedy, and I learned last year that the Professor Quinlan, Casey Quinlan, had come from his visit to the archives, where he uncovered a picture of Kennedy corpse that had a hole behind the ear that he wasn't familiar with, and I wasn't familiar with it. And so I thought that could be from one of them. The truth is, I don't think we're ever going to know, other than Jim Fowles, and that is probably the provable one. And then the other shooters, there were so many. They want to talk about 3 shots all the time. The 3 shots, I believe, were just shots in the air, so that they could say, they would have witnesses down below that said, "Oh yeah, they came from right up there." They even had a couple of guys on the 5th floor, that were working in the building who said they were from right upstairs. I heard them in the school book depository, and so that all sort of fit the play. It was sort of like a theatrical play, and it had to be done that way because anybody with a lick of sense would have taken his shot after he turned off of Main Street and was headed down Houston Street. I mean, it was a perfect shot. Nobody else had to be hit. No signs had to be hit. No chips off of cement. I mean, it was a free-for-all. These tidbits are, I don't know if they're evidence, but they're something to think about. If I can give you 100 or 2 of these, I would think that you'll start to draw the conclusions that I did. Anyway, you're the jury, not me. You're the jury. So tell me what you think, and tell me if you like us doing this. We will try to give you more.